Welcome everyone, I'm Dale and this is Cinema Historia. An ex-gangster, a city newspaper, and the pursuit of a new dream. This week we're going back to 1933 for a crime drama called Picture Snatcher, starring James Cagney, Ralph Bellamy, Patricia Ellis, and Alice White. And this is directed by Lloyd Bacon. So, where does our story begin this week? Well, our story begins at the Sing Sing Correctional Facility in New York. Just getting out of prison, Danny Kean, played by James Cagney, upon leaving the administration building, gets picked up by the old crime gang he used to lead. Wanting his first experience in jail to be his last, he shocks his old gang by stating he is quitting. Deciding to go legitimate, he wants to become a newspaper reporter, a job he has always dreamed of. With the boys being upset, Danny hands the leadership over to Jerry the Mug. At the graphic newspaper, Danny approaches the city editor, Al McLean, played by Ralph Bellamy, about a job, but Al is reluctant to take him on. Just then, Al's boss, Mr. Grover, states that nobody had gotten a photograph of Fireman Hennessy, the last reporter being injured in an attempt. Hennessy, a fireman who responded to a fire at his own house, found the dead bodies of his wife and her lover, has now barricaded himself in the ruins with a gun. Wanting to prove himself, Danny asks for the assignment and, if succeeds, wants to be put on the payroll. Danny then sneaks into the building and poses as a claim adjuster for the National Insurance Company. Much to Hennessy's suspicions, Danny steals a wedding picture of Hennessy and his wife, escapes, and as a result is made a staff photographer. When some journalism students take a tour of the graphic news, Danny becomes attracted to Pat Nolan, played by Patricia Ellis, and the two begin dating. Co-worker and reporter Allison, played by Alice White, becomes annoyed as she has made it quite clear she also wants Danny, even though she is Al's girl. Complications arise when Danny meets Pat's father, Police Lieutenant Casey, the officer that shot Danny 6 times and had him put away to Sing Sing. Naturally being upset, Casey orders his daughter to stay away from Danny. So, does Danny proceed to keep seeing Pat, much to her father's discontent? Does Allison cause a fight between two lovers, or does our star reporter take on another dangerous assignment and change the direction of our story? This story was written by writer Daniel Ahern and was James Cagney's 13th film. With his fast rise to stardom, even his first film, Sinner's Holiday in 1930, he was given $1,500 for 3 weeks' work, more than most Americans earned in a year. The average individual income in 1930 being $1,368. 83% of Google users like this movie, stating such claims as, "The great James Cagney is a joy to watch in the film, a charismatic actor that left his mark of excellence on each and every film he appeared in. And this is one of my favorite pre-code Cagney movies. Great acting, a good story, a jazzy theme music, and those great cars of the 1930s. And yes, there is a car chase in this film." And our trivia question this week: what brand of camera did our star reporter Danny Kean use in our film? What brand of camera did our star reporter Danny Kean use in our film? So a little more history and the answer to our trivia question coming up next. Well, since our film is entitled Picture Snatcher, this week for history we're going to talk about the early days of photography. So, photography began with the discovery of 2 critical principles: camera obscura image projection and the observation that some substances are visibly altered by exposure to light. The heliographic process designed by Joseph Niepce was a metal plate exposed under an ordinary engraving and copied by photographic means, were the first steps towards the first permanent photograph. The earliest surviving heliographic engraving was made in 1822. Believed to be the earliest surviving camera photograph came in 1826, when Joseph Niepce managed to fix an image with a camera using paper coated with silver chloride, taking several days of exposure. Niepce's associate Louis Daguerre went on to develop the daguerreotype process, the first commercially viable photographic process. This process required only minutes of exposure in the camera and produced clear, finely detailed results. The Boulevard du Temple, a daguerreotype photo, was made by Louis Daguerre in 1838. This photograph of a busy street is believed to be the earliest photo to include people, as depicted by a man getting his boots polished. The solar eclipse of July 28, 1851, using the daguerreotype process, is the first correctly exposed photo of a solar eclipse. The oldest surviving successful aerial photograph is of Boston in October of 1860. George Eastman, an American entrepreneur from Rochester, New York, became interested in photography while working as a bank clerk in the 1870s. In 1884, George Eastman developed dry gel on paper, or film, replacing the photographic plate, eliminating the need for carrying boxes of plates and toxic chemicals around. In July of 1888, Eastman's Kodak camera went on the market with the slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest." In 1901, with the introduction of the Kodak Brownie camera, anyone could take a photograph and leave the complex parts of the process to others, and photography became available for the mass market. Amazing. And the answer to our trivia question this week: what brand of camera did our star reporter, Danny Kean, use in our film? Well, the camera used was a Leica 2 camera. Leica is a German company that manufactures cameras, optical lenses, photographic lenses, binoculars, and rifle scopes. The company was founded by Ernst Leitz in 1869, and the Leica 2, developed in 1932, was the first Leica camera with a built-in rangefinder and could adapt to shorter or longer 50mm lenses. Only 4 gold-plated Leica 2 Lexus cameras were made, one being sold at auction in 2013 for over $500,000 US. Amazing. I'd like to give out a big thank you to my new subscribers this week, and to everyone else tuning in. Thanks very much, everyone. I hope to see you back next week.